Hello, this is Dr. Breeze Harper of the Sister Vegan Project, and I want to give you an update. My GoFundMe campaign is going so well. Thank you so much for those of you who've contributed money over the past 2 or 3 weeks. It's going to make this conference awesome, and I want to remind people that this conference needs monetary contributions because I want to pay the speakers. When you do any type of public speaking, I believe that you should be paid for your services and your knowledge. So I would like our speakers to receive an honorarium. It will be humble, but nonetheless, I want them to receive an honorarium. Also, we need money to pay for the technology to put the conference together via online web service. Also, a few people have written me saying that they would think it would make sense to put all of the talks together in the form of a book. So I'm asking people to help donate toward the copy editing and other fees that are related to what will become a book from this conference, which will be called The Vegan Praxis of Black Lives Matter. And it will be a collection of the talks that people gave. And this will not just be, the talks taken and put in the book, but I'll ask the people who've contributed as speakers to go back to those talks and make it appropriate for an anthology. So those are just a few of the things that we need to make the conference very successful. Also, I want to make some suggestions about why it's important for people to consider what it means to infuse Black Lives Matter into vegan praxis. And I want to give you a taste of what we'll be talking about during this conference. So there's many ways to support the Black Lives Matter movement. You can, of course, go and march and join the protests that have been happening throughout the country. A lot of people who are not ready for that, I think a good first step in supporting Black Lives Matter is to first visit the Black Lives Matter website and understand that it comes from a Black feminist queer foundation. Now, reading the website is helpful, as I've met many vegans online who have never even read the website, but claim that they know what Black Lives Matter is all about and or don't even support it by making the claim, all lives matter or everyone matters. And I have to tell you that this claim is a racist microaggression, and it silences the specific socio-historical context of being Black in a USA that currently is founded upon systemic anti-Black racism and white supremacist capitalist ways of thinking. If vegans want to support the Black Lives Matter, and they are not Black identified but want to be an ally, they first need to understand, as Cornel West would say, race matters, and that being racialized as Black, being forced into antebellum slavery, surviving through Jim Crow, etc., are real concrete consequences for the collectivity of Black people in the USA that's very different from the suffering and subjugation that all people may experience. So I want to explain, this fusion of Black Lives Matter and veganism. What does that look like as praxis? And I can give some more concrete examples that the conference is going to try to tackle. So, for instance, Black communities are negatively affected by gentrification. In the San Francisco Bay Area where I live, the rise of Silicon Valley wealth has meant more and more land grabbing in working class and or economically struggling communities, especially Black communities like in the Oakland region. Those benefiting the most from Silicon Valley tend to be white people. Also, with this land grabbing, of course, comes gentrification. A way to think about Black Lives Matter and veganism could be to ask yourself if a new vegan restaurant or store that has been created within this gentrified space came about at the expense of not caring about the Black communities that were displaced. And they were displaced because most people can no longer live in a community that's been gentrified if they're working class poor people. Now, another example is vegan cocoa and chocolate products. A lot of vegans love vegan cocoa products, but a significant number do not care about the sourcing of ingredients past was a non-human animal harmed. Lauren Ornelas, the director of Food Empowerment Project, has been educating consumers for years about the child slavery involved in cocoa products from the Ivory Coast. During many of her talks, she explains that a lot of mostly white vegans, when confronted with the fact that their favorite vegan chocolate bar has child slavery sourced cocoa from the Ivory Coast or other parts of Africa, they literally say they don't care. For me, that is a huge statement that says Black African lives don't matter. So how does one develop a vegan praxis in which one can enjoy eating vegan food and have the consciousness that Black lives matter and begin to ask questions like this? So this is what we're hoping to tackle on the conference. So here's one of the two questions. There will be many, but here's one of the two. So, at what expense of Black communities did this new vegan restaurant in a gentrified part of, type in the city of your choice that has a Black community, how has this restaurant come about? Another question, at what expense did my cocoa come at the cost of Black African children who are enslaved to harvest the world's cocoa? Because in a world of globalized, racist, capitalist system, Black lives can't matter if the CEOs of corporations, the 1% who conveniently are nearly all white, want to profit from their largely white, light-skinned, privileged global Western Northern consumers who have the buying power that the world's Black African diasporic population don't have. And of course, this is due to the racist, uneven development via colonialism, imperialism, and neoliberal racist economic system of today. So, these are the type of questions and concerns that this conference is going to tackle. And I think it's important to reiterate the uniqueness of Black Lives Matter and the history of Black liberation. And I think it's very important to understand the problem or problematic phrasing of turning Black Lives Matter into all lives matter. Because yes, we know most people suffer from multiple systems of oppression, but it is unfair to say that everyone suffers from the same unique system of oppression, that anti-Blackness that affects Black people in a way that it may affect a white middle-class homosexual man who has to go through a heterosexist or homophobic culture. It's not the same. And to actually pretend that it is by saying all lives matter invisibilizes it and actually creates a more neoliberal whiteness approach to understanding justice, which ultimately only benefits people who are identified as neoliberal, white, middle to upper class folk in the world. So that's what the conference wants to address, and I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about the people who've been supporting us via donations and or suggesting conference speakers and workshop presenters. So that's the update, and if you can donate to this conference or just donate to the Sister Vegan Project because you like what we're about, then please do so. As I explained to people, I'm actually running a nonprofit. I'm an executive director, and if you're if you work in a nonprofit, you get a salary to do what you do. And I'm asking through crowdfunding for me to do what I do. I don't have a salary, and we don't have a budget for these expenses. And I've been told by numerous fans that my work is integral to their own activism, their own lives. And for those of you who can afford it, I would really appreciate a monetary donation to keep this work going. And I have about 5,000 to 6,000 supporters at this point. And I know not everybody is financially secure. I understand that. But I did want to suggest that even if all 6,000 people were to pledge $5 each a year, that would actually give me what I need to do what I need to do. Run the nonprofit, do these awesome conferences, put out those books that really tackle the ideas that no other mainstream vegan organization does. But also have a thriving wage, right? I'm a primary caretaker of 3 young children. I do need childcare half the time to do this work. I need to pay bills, utilities, to keep myself going so I can do this work. So I'm just asking for people to consider what that means to run a nonprofit and not have a salary, but hopefully rely on supporters to give you that financial support you need to do the good work. So thank you very much. If you can't put in a monetary donation, it's okay. There are many other ways that you can help. You can help blast out the word about the conference. You can help find some speakers. We're also looking for sponsors. So we're also looking for raffle prizes. So if you know of particular companies that want to promote a new ethical way of eating through veganism, and they want to showcase a product and they want to give out some samples, that can make actually a really great raffle prize for the conference. So these are just the ideas that I'm sharing with you. I just look forward to hearing your ideas and getting feedback to make this conference awesome. Thank you for your time.